How's everyone doing today? I'm Andrew Scheer. I'm the Conservative candidate in Regina Capel, and I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I, along with my Saskatchewan colleagues, have the distinct honor of hosting our leader, Leader Poilievre, for our Canada First announcement. After this lost Liberal decade, with costs and crime up and our economy down and under America's thumb, it is clear the Liberals do not deserve a fourth term in power. Instead, it's time to put Canada first for a change, with a Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, unleash our natural resources, stop crime, and stand up to President Trump from a position of strength. And Leader Poilievre is the only one who can deliver that real change. So, here to tell you more about our plan, I have the pleasure of introducing Leader Poilievre, the only one who can deliver real change for Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Leader Poilievre.
This election comes down to one word, and that is change. Changement, changement et changement. C'est le seul mot. C'est l'élection de 2025. Il faut que ça change. Change, change, change. Change so that you can afford food and housing. Change so you're safe on your streets. Change so that we reverse liberal economic weakness and bring home our jobs. Change is what we need now more than ever. After a lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime, we can't afford a fourth Liberal term. We need change. Après une décennie perdue de l'inflation, des taxes et de faiblesse économique, on ne peut pas prendre le risque d'un quatrième mandat libéral. Il faut que ça change. Change can't wait. And after the lost Liberal decade of soaring costs, rising crime, an economy that is weaker than any other in the G7, Canadians are asking the simple question: can we really afford to allow Mark Carney to have the fourth term of Justin Trudeau, raising exactly the same taxes, running exactly the same deficits, doubling exactly the same housing costs, with exactly the same Liberal team? Now, yesterday, Mark Carney was caught lying. He's lying about that. We can be sure he's lying about inflation, lying about Liberal tax increases, lying about the Liberal housing crisis. The reality is that we cannot trust Mark Carney by giving the Liberals a fourth term to boost your cost of living and the crime in your streets. We cannot trust anything he says. In fact, we know that he has plagiarized Justin Trudeau's platform. We now know the Liberals wrote the platform for Trudeau, and Mark Carney simply replaced Trudeau's name with his own. And what is he promising in this platform but to add $130 billion of additional spending above and beyond the deficits that Trudeau had already foreseen? Now, that would mean that you add up Trudeau's promises and Carney's spending, the Liberals would add $250 billion of new inflationary debt that will drive up your cost of food and housing if they get a fourth term. Listen to these beautiful little children singing a song. Who's that one there?
Daniel.
Is it Daniel's birthday?
It is.
Daniel's birthday. I think Daniel's best birthday present he could get is a new change for a brighter future. Do you think Daniel wants $250 billion of new Liberal debt? I don't think so. Daniel would prefer our plan to cut the deficit by the Liberal deficit by 70%. He also, so he's 1 year old. In 2040, little Daniel would be 16 years old. So what does the government say that life is going to look like in 2040? According to this report, it's called Future Lives, Social Mobility in Question. Then there's this section on page 3 called More Snakes Than Ladders. Google it, look it up. It's a Government of Canada report. And they make some predictions about life if we continue on the current path. In 2040, social mobility is almost unheard of in Canada. Hardly anyone believes that they can build a better life for themselves or their children through their own efforts. However, many worry about sliding down the social order. Now, that means no matter how hard you work, you never get ahead, and you'll probably fall further and further behind. In 2040, the Liberal government predicts, owning a home is not a realistic goal for many. In 2040, people see inheritance as the only reliable way to get ahead. Society increasingly resembles an aristocracy, they predict. Wealth and status pass down the generations. Family background, especially owning property, divides the haves and the have-nots. Is that the future we want for little Daniel? I don't think so. And then you have aspirations for social mobility among youth are at odds with expectations of immobility. People rarely mix with each other. The tiny group of aristocrats, and I'm taking that word out of this report, it's not my word, tiny group of aristocrats stick together, and everyone else toils away, does the work, and is shut out from the leadership of the country. That is the future. People under the Liberal path. Liberal path means people's mental health may suffer. That's another quote. More people may struggle to afford rent, bills, and groceries. The resulting stress could worsen mental health challenges. And we go over to the next page. People will have to resort to foraging on public lands in order to scrounge out subsistence to eat. They say that people will have to break rules because they will have to go around regulation for hunting and fishing because they can no longer afford to buy food at grocery stores. Is that really the future that we can afford? Are we really going to let Mark Carney distract from the inflation, crime, rising housing costs that Liberals would continue to deliver simply because he tells lies to make people afraid of change? No, we can't. We have to choose hope over fear. We have to choose change for a brighter future for our families. And change cannot wait. We need a new Conservative government that will get busy on day one. And so I have some good news and bad news. The good news is Canadians can elect a government that will bring change. The bad news for the politicians is your summer vacation is canceled. We are going to keep Parliament open all summer long to pass 3 laws to bring change. 1, the Affordability for a Change Act. 2, the Safe Streets for a Change Act.
Yes.
3, the Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act. And until these laws are passed, Parliament will not shut down for summer vacation. We need change. Change can't wait, but the politicians' vacations will have to wait. 300 jours de changement. Un changement dont on a besoin avec urgence. J'annonce que les vacances estivales pour les politiciens sont annulées. On va garder le Parlement ouvert pour adopter 3 lois. La loi pour l'affordabilité, pour faire changement. La loi pour les rues sécuritaires, pour faire changement. Et la loi pour emmener nos emplois chez nous, pour faire changement. Si ces lois-là ne sont pas adoptées, il ne va pas y avoir des vacances estivales pour les politiciens. C'est avec urgence qu'il faut qu'on agisse et qu'on agisse. On ne peut pas attendre en permettant les coûts et la criminalité d'augmenter ou la faiblesse économique qu'on va hériter des libéraux de continuer. On ne peut pas le faire. Il faut que ça change, il faut que ça bouge et on va agir pour rendre la vie abordable et sécuritaire tout en rendant notre pays plus autosuffisant avec des emplois ici comme maîtres chez nous pour faire changement. On ne s'arrêtera pas tant qu'on n'aura pas adopté le changement qu'on a promis, le changement que les Canadiens méritent, le changement pour une vie abordable, sécuritaire et un pays plus fort. No delays, just action. Here's what we will do. First, we will pass the Affordability for a Change Act. We'll deliver urgent relief to Canadians in order to save them their homes and let them eat nutritious food again. We will start by cutting $54 billion of bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, and other waste so that we can bring down the cost of living for Canadians. We'll cut income tax by 15%, putting almost $1,800 back in the back in the pockets of a working couple. $1,800 means more affordable food, maybe help with a mortgage payment, and relief for those people who are working hard. We will axe the federal sales tax on new homes, saving people up to $65,000 and pay municipalities to cut those development charges. The goal is to knock $100,000 of taxes off new homes. We will end the full carbon tax. We will axe the tax for everyone, for everything, for real, for good, for a change. The liberal fuel standard, which is going to drive up gas prices even more. We will axe the carny tax. The carny tax, which seeks to raise the price of a car by $20,000 if it is not electric. Carney has said that he wants to ban gas and diesel-powered vehicles in Canada, and that starts next year with a $20,000 carny tax on every vehicle above a government-set quota that is not electric. Canadians cannot afford to pay a $20,000 carny tax. No. Now, let me ask you this: if you're a farmer near Lloydminster or Weyburn or Estevan, can you drive around in an electric vehicle in February? I got an idea. I think we should invite Mark Carney to go on a road trip through the prairies in his Tesla. Give the money to Tesla as he wants to. By the way, his carny tax is a subsidy for Tesla. I find the media hasn't noticed that. They're actually, and it's not my saying this, it's the government's plan. The auto dealerships are going to have to pay a tax for the crime of selling too many gas and diesel-powered vehicles. And that tax will go in credits to electric vehicle companies to subsidize charging stations. One of the biggest recipients will be Tesla. So while conservatives want to axe the GST on Canadian-made automobiles, Mark Carney wants to bring in a new car tax that will take money from Canadian consumers and give it to Tesla subsidies. We cannot afford a fourth Liberal term of this kind. Letting Canadian seniors, we're also going to pass a law As part of the Affordability for a Change Act, seniors will be able to enjoy $34,000 of earned income tax-free. And we're going to axe the accelerator tax on alcohol and reset the excise duty rates to those in effect before. We will scrap the plastics ban and save Canadians $400 on groceries because we need plastic to preserve our food. We're going to stop Mark Carney from his insane plan to ban plastics and cause food to go bad around 80% faster than it does right now. We cannot afford more expensive food to meet radical, liberal, eco-fanaticism. Our priority is affordable food for Canadians, and all of that will be part of the Affordability for a Change Act. Second, we will pass the Safe Streets for a Change Act. Safe streets are something we used to take for granted in Canada, but after the lost Liberal decade. By the way, I should just say on the affordability thing, there's a very simple choice. Either you're going to have a fourth Liberal term of rising taxes, inflation, and housing costs, or we're going to have a change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, and unleash the production of affordable goods for our people. That is the change. Nous allons adopter la loi qui fait de l'abordabilité pour faire changement. Ce qui va couper la bureaucratie des consultants, l'aide à l'étranger, pour économiser 54 milliards de dollars qu'on va utiliser pour couper les impôts de 15%, permettre aux aînés de gagner 34 000 dollars libres d'impôts. On va éliminer le TPS sur les maisons neuves et inciter les municipalités de permettre plus de construction pour que nos jeunes puissent acheter des logements. On va éliminer le TPS sur les automobiles faites ici au Canada. Et contrairement à M. Carney qui propose une nouvelle taxe sur les voitures à gaz et à diesel, nous allons renverser cette taxe Carney et permettre aux Canadiens de choisir. Les gens qui vivent au Saguenay, en Gaspésie et ailleurs dans les régions n'ont pas les moyens pour payer les taxes sur les voitures afin de subventionner Tesla, comme M. Carney veut faire. Pas de subvention pour Tesla, l'argent dans les poches de monsieur et madame tout le monde. On va le faire pour rendre la vie abordable. Le choix entre les deux parties, c'est est-ce qu'on veut un quatrième mandat libéral avec plus de taxes, d'impôts et de logements plus chers, ou bien un vrai changement avec les conservateurs qui vont couper la bureaucratie, les taxes et les impôts et permettre aux Canadiens d'avoir les maisons et l'épicerie abordables. We're going to bring home safety for a change. We'll pass a massive omnibus crime bill that will be the single biggest crackdown on crime in Canadian history for a change. The catch and release Liberal bail law, C-75, that requires judges release the accused at the earliest opportunity and under the least onerous conditions. Instead, we will bring in jail and not bail. We will get rid of house arrest for serious offenders by repealing the Liberal law C-5, which allows the worst violent offenders, including domestic abusers, sex offenders, and others, to do their sentences in their living room. They will go behind bars. We will impose life sentences for fentanyl, human trafficking, and illegal guns to protect our streets and our people. We will pass the 3 strikes and you're outlaw that requires a mandatory minimum of 10 years behind bars and a maximum of life. They will never get out of prison unless they've finished their 10 years and done so with perfect behavior, clean drug tests, and learning an employable skill so that they can contribute to society when they get out. No more parole for repeat offenders. They will go behind bars, and our people will be safe for a change. Crack down on organized crime, auto theft, extortion, arson, fraud, with tough new laws that than ensure that people stay behind bars. We'll give the police the power to shut down 10 cities and get people real help so our children don't have to step on dirty needles and crack pipes for a change. We will create stronger protections against incarcerated violence. We'll bring back consecutive sentences for mass murderers, including by using the notwithstanding clause to ensure that mass murderers never get out of prison until they come out in a box. That is our plan. We are going to pass it, and we will not give politicians a summer vacation until it is done. Third, and by the way, here's the choice. Do you want a fourth Liberal term of turning loose criminals into our streets, opening up our borders to drugs, stolen cars, and guns? Or do you want a change with a new conservative government that will lock up the criminals, secure our borders, and protect our people? That is the change we need. That is the change I will deliver. Third, we will pass the Bring Home Jobs for a Change Act. After the lost Liberal decade where $500 billion of our investment has left for the South, we've had the worst economic growth in the G7, and all of that happened while Mark Carney was the economic advisor to Justin Trudeau. Mr. Carney agrees with every economic policy that Trudeau passed. Other than a small amount of symbolism and cosmetic surgery, the Liberal Party will continue the exact same destructive, anti-growth, costly Liberal policies that they have for the last lost Liberal decade. We will do exactly the opposite. As part of our 100 days of urgent action, we will pass a bill that repeals the No Development Law C-69. We will reverse the tanker ban. We will launch a Canada First reinvestment tax cut. Zero capital gains tax when you reinvest the proceeds right here in Canada. Bring the money home for a change. This will be economic rocket fuel for our economy, and the approvals will be fast. We'll have a one-stop shop to approve projects with a shovel-ready zone, a zone where we can effectively approve projects immediately that are actually zoned, regulated, approved, signed off with clear conditions and clear boundaries so that businesses can just get busy building. We're also going to axe the industrial carbon tax. So today, Mark Carney is trying to distract from yesterday's lie by going to a steel plant where he's announcing a bigger industrial carbon tax. He actually said the carbon tax will make Canadian steel better off. So here we go again. Carney agrees with Trump. He wants to tax Canadian industry. Carney wants to do it with carbon taxes. Trump wants to do it with tariffs. I want neither. We know that companies like Evraz here in Saskatchewan, any steel workers here? I know we're not in Regina, but we've got steel workers across this country that are going to lose their jobs because of the Carney carbon tax on industry. A carbon tax he wants to apply to the fertilizer that grows our food, to the aluminum, to all the other metals we make, to the cement and concrete, and all the industrial products that are literally the backbone of our country. All of the materials that go into building a home will become more expensive because of Carney's industrial carbon tax. You tax the steel, well, all the apartment framing and other inputs are going to be more expensive. The cement that goes into apartment complexes, the manufacturing of other materials will all go up in price, which means the Carney carbon tax will be paid by you. He will drive, this is exactly what the Americans want, by the way. He's going to effectively impose a Canadian tariff on Canadian industry. That's why we cannot afford a fourth Liberal term of Liberal taxes and anti-development policies. We need to pass the Bring Home Our Jobs Act for a change with a new Conservative government. And that's what we're obviously call President Trump and tell him that the tariffs are destructive and they should be lifted on day one and a new deal negotiated. But what we will not do is put Canadian taxes, effectively Canadian tariffs on Canadian industry. That is the exact kind of economic liberal insanity that got us into this mess over the last 10 years. We will quickly approve major projects like LNG Canada Part 2 to double its production. We will approve pipelines, mines, LNG plants, and we will do it quickly. Nous allons faire un vrai changement. En adoptant une loi pour la sécurité, les rues sécuritaires pour faire changement, nous allons renverser les politiques de libération automatique des libéraux. Nous allons adopter une loi des 3 coups pour mettre des criminels violents en prison, sans exception, au moins 10 ans. Nous allons éliminer les peines Netflix pour les criminels violents et nous allons mettre des criminels en prison pour des sentences consécutives. Les peines de vie vont être des peines de vie. On ne va jamais permettre des meurtriers de masse de sortir de la prison. On va protéger nos rues pour faire changement. Le choix, c'est entre les libéraux qui vont libérer contre les criminels pour causer la criminalité ou bien des conservateurs qui vont mettre des criminels en prison pour faire changement. Nous allons aussi libérer nos ressources naturelles avec une loi pour emmener nos emplois chez nous pour faire changement. On va renverser la loi anti-développement de C-69. On va éliminer l'interdiction sur les pipelines. On va ajouter aussi, on va donner une élimination de la taxe sur le gain en capital pour ceux qui réinvestissent ici au Canada. On va créer des zones prêtes à bâtir pour rapidement donner l'approbation des projets, y compris GNL Québec. Évidemment, nous allons agir pour mettre fin aux tarifs avec M. Trump, mais aussi, on va jamais permettre de mettre les tarifs contre le Canada, ici au Canada, avec une taxe de carbone industrielle comme M. Carney propose de faire. Ça, c'est irresponsable, surtout dans le contexte actuel. Donc, le choix, c'est est-ce qu'on va permettre un 4e mandat des libéraux qui taxent et bloquent nos industries pour favoriser l'économie américaine, ou est-ce qu'on va faire un vrai changement en libérant nos ressources et la construction de logements pour ramener des emplois chez nous? C'est ça le changement que nous proposons. We cannot afford another 4 years of the same liberal MPs, same liberal ministers, same liberal advisors, same liberal platform, same liberal lies from a leader who will say absolutely anything to get elected and then do exactly the opposite, just like they did for the last 10 years. Nous ne pouvons pas nous permettre un 4e mandat des libéraux avec les mêmes députés libéraux, les mêmes ministres libéraux, les mêmes promesses libérales et les mêmes mensonges libéraux qu'on a vus depuis 10 ans. Il faut que ça change. On ne peut pas continuer ainsi. Et c'est pour ça que nous proposons un vrai agenda de changement, avec urgence. Dans les 100 premiers jours du changement, on va nous assurer qu'il ne va pas y avoir des vacances pour les politiciens. Les Canadiens ne peuvent plus attendre le changement. Ils ont besoin d'un changement pour une vie abordable dans les rues sécuritaires et une économie plus forte. Et c'est nous, les conservateurs, qui va le livrer. En terminant, je veux juste remercier les gens de la Saskatchewan pour avoir donné un peu mes racines. Mon père vient d'un village pas loin d'ici, Léoville. C'est un village françaiscois. Son grand-père est venu ici, il n'était même pas capable de rédiger son nom. Son père a commencé une entreprise et a réussi dans la vie. Et mon père et sa sœur étaient les premiers dans notre famille de pouvoir avoir un diplôme universitaire. Mon père m'a transmis la langue française, mais évidemment, je l'ai perdu, c'est pas parfait. M'excuse, mais je retrouve mes racines francophones ces jours-ci. Mais c'est la Saskatchewan qui m'a donné ce début dans la vie. Je suis très reconnaissant et je vais toujours avoir des beaux souvenirs de revenir ici les étés pour travailler, aider, de jouer dans les fermes de notre famille, les familles liées à ma famille de mon père. C'est des beaux souvenirs. Et je suis ici pour ramener la promesse du Canada, qu'on voit ici dans les prairies où les gens qui travaillent fort peuvent avoir une belle vie, avec un bel avenir, une belle maison. Et c'est ça qu'on va rebâtir, c'est ça le choix. C'est la raison pour laquelle il nous faut du vrai changement. I want to thank Saskatchewan for giving me my roots. My folks were from here. My dad's from a French village, Leoville. My mother spent most of her early days in Saskatoon. I think they were married in Saskatoon. They moved to Calgary in '77. At a time everyone was leaving. There was a sign at the border that said, "Last one out, turn off the lights." But now a lot of folks have come back. That's why we have more Rough Riders jerseys at the McMahon Stadium and Stampeders jerseys. All those wonderful summers coming back to play on our cousins' farms. And I want a country with a big opportunity, as big as the prairie sky, where anyone from anywhere can do anything, where hard work gets you a beautiful life and a nice, affordable home under a safe street, under our proud flag. That is my purpose in politics, to bring home Canada's promise, but it takes change to do it. And on Monday, we all need to vote for change. Now let's bring it home. Thank you very much.